Yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. There is a very interesting news that has been going viral locally and internationally. CNBC, World News, FATF Financial Crime Watchdog adds Kenya and Namibia to its grey list. The Financial Action Task Force, FATF International Crime Watchdog, on Friday added Kenya and Namibia to its grey list of countries that need increased monitoring due to inadequate curbs against money laundering and terrorism financing. At this plenary, the FATF added Kenya and Namibia to the list of jurisdictions subject to increased monitoring, said the FATF in a statement. Yes. So what does it mean for a country to be on a grey list? When a country is put on the grey list, it means that it is under increased monitoring by the FATF. A country on the grey list is an indication that the FATF has identified strategic deficiencies in its systems to counter financial crimes. So Kenya has been added on that grey list, and that was done on Friday, 23rd. So what are the consequences of a country being on the grey list? What are the disadvantages of grey list countries? On the other hand, grey list countries are given the opportunity and significant monitoring to ensure future compliance and delisting from the FATF grey list. Significant consequences such as economic and financial sanctions, restrictions, and international transactions and trade, and heightened scrutiny. So it's going to affect Kenya's trading. It's going to affect Kenya getting loans from IMF, from World Bank, and from any donor. So that is really going to affect Ruto seriously because he has got this appetite of borrowing. The mere fact that we are on the grey list, that alone is going to affect Kenya trading with other countries, Kenya getting credit. And we all know that Ruto has been running around urging investors to come to Kenya. That is going to be affected by the mere fact that Kenya is now on the grey list. So the question begs, Ruto has been trying very desperately to please the Western superpowers. Does it mean that all those Ruto's maneuvers have reached a dead end? They have not yielded anything meaningful. In fact, it appears that all those trips have only earned Kenya being on the grey list. I want us to dig deep into this, but before we do that, let's remind ourselves of some remarks made by Fred Matiang'i just a few years ago. Listen to this.
It's a practical example, Chief Justice. One view and regulatory framework for campaign financing might save this country.
That was Fred Matiang'i a few years ago. And if you look at the character of Fred Matiang'i, you can just guess the individuals he was targeting. And now that he was targeting those individuals, and we know that Matiang'i was on the opposing camp to that of William Ruto, is factual and very clear that the individuals Matiang'i was targeting are now in power. And just about 1 year, 6 months, you are seeing Kenya on the grey list. What does this mean, ladies and gentlemen? From where I sit, it's coming out very clearly that Kenya Kwanza government has allowed a lot of illegal activities to go on in the country. This body called FATF, this is a global anti-money laundering and anti-terrorism financing. So for them to put Kenya on the grey list, it means that Kenya is condoning money laundering and actually condoning terrorist funding. Kenya has not put adequate measures to curb money laundering and terrorism financing. And just as Matiang'i said some years back, if you look at our parliament, it's full of crooks and criminals. In most occasions, we are even seeing some elected leaders being accused of wash. And those are the same individuals who go back to the people and they get re-elected. So Kenyans have brought this upon themselves. It's high time Kenyans to wake up to elect leaders of integrity. A leader who has been accused of corruption, murder, rape, and such ills, that's not a person worth being elected for a public office. But it appears in Kenya, the dirtier you are, the more appealing you become. So Kenya has been put on the grey list. And if Kenya does not put any measures to curb all this, we might just find ourselves on the blacklist. With the characters we are seeing in Kenya, it's highly possible. If nothing is done, we will find ourselves on the blacklist. So things are going to be more difficult for Kenya as time goes by. The economy is most definitely going to perform poorly than it's actually doing today. Let's meet in our next analysis. But before I forget, if you are watching us but you have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Those watching us outside Kenya, drop a comment, let us know from which part of the globe you are watching us from. If possible, subscribe, give this video a like. Let's meet in our next analysis.